Hey everyone, and welcome! Today, we're going to talk about turning our everyday routines into, well, a full-blown workout for your brain. We're going to dive into some really simple but powerful habits to keep your mind active, your thinking sharp, and your creativity just flowing. So let's get started.
So, let me ask you, ever feel like you're stuck in a bit of a mental rut? Or maybe you just wish you were a little sharper, quicker on your feet? Whether you're trying to crack a tough problem at work or just feel more engaged with the world around you, the answer, it's actually in a few simple, powerful habits. It all comes down to how you treat your brain, day in and day out. Okay, so why should you even care about this? Well, the benefits are super practical. We're talking about making better decisions, which we all want to do, right? Boosting your creative problem-solving skills for when you're really stuck, and sharpening your focus, especially on those complicated tasks. Plus, and this is a big one, it's one of the best things you can do to help slow down cognitive decline and keep your mind sharp for the long haul. That's huge.
All right, the best way to wrap your head around all this is to think of your brain as a muscle. Seriously, you wouldn't go to the gym and just do bicep curls and expect a full-body workout, would you? Of course not. And it's the exact same thing with your brain. It needs a complete program. You need high-quality fuel, you need consistent training, and you absolutely need proper maintenance.
So let's kick things off with that first pillar, fuel. And no, I'm not talking about food, at least not yet. I'm talking about the information, the ideas, and the stimulation that you feed your mind every single day. Because, high-quality input is really the foundation for any kind of high-quality output.
So the very first habit is, it's just beautifully simple. Learn something new every single day. Now, this isn't about signing up for some big formal course. Nope. It's about making learning a small, consistent part of your daily rhythm. Because that consistency, that's what literally builds new pathways in your brain. And look, this is so easy to fit into your life. You can turn your commute into a university on wheels with audiobooks and podcasts. Or maybe swap out a half hour of mindless scrolling for a really interesting article or a cool documentary. The key here is just variety and consistency. You're basically forcing your brain to make new connections, and that's exactly what we want. Now, what's really fascinating about this is the effect it has on your thinking. See, this constant learning, it doesn't just fill your head with a bunch of random facts. It actually keeps your mind flexible. Think of it as the ultimate defense against getting stuck in those old, rigid ways of thinking. Okay, so right alongside learning, we need to cultivate curiosity. And cultivate it as a deliberate habit. See, a lot of people think it's just a personality trait you're either born with or you're not. But that's not true. It's an active choice to look at the world around you and constantly, consistently ask why. A curious mind is always probing, always digging a little deeper. So instead of just accepting things the way they are, you start to see opportunities absolutely everywhere. Just asking why, or what if we tried this? That literally opens up doors to new ideas and creative solutions that, honestly, most people are going to miss. All right, let's move on to our second pillar, training. And this is key. Just consuming information, that's only the warm-up. The real workout, the heavy lifting, begins when you actively engage with that information and start turning it into genuine insight. So how do you actually do that? Well, here's a simple 3-step process you can use. First, you take in the information. You read the article. You listen to the podcast. But you don't stop there. Step 2, you immediately ask why. Why is this true? Why does this even matter? And then finally, step 3, you analyze the implications. What does this mean for my job, for my life, or just for how I understand the world? One of the most powerful tools for this kind of deep thinking is writing. And listen, you do not have to be a professional writer for this. The simple act of just trying to explain an idea on paper, it forces your brain to find a structure, to see the gaps in your own logic, and to really truly organize your thoughts. It's kind of like having a conversation with yourself that brings you to a place of real clarity. And get this, training can also be play. This table illustrates the idea perfectly. On one hand, you've got activities like chess or Sudoku, which are fantastic for building skills in pattern recognition and memory. But then, on the other hand, you have creative pursuits like drawing or playing music, and these are incredible because they activate totally different parts of your brain and give your imagination a huge boost. And that brings us to our third and final pillar, maintenance. Honestly, this might be the most important and definitely the most overlooked part of the whole thing. All this amazing mental software we're talking about, it runs on physical hardware, your brain. And just like any high-performance machine, it needs proper upkeep to function at its best. So think of movement and sleep as your brain's essential support crew. Physical activity, that's your delivery service. It gets the blood pumping, delivering vital oxygen and nutrients to your brain cells, improving everything from your mood to your memory. And then sleep. Sleep is the night shift cleaning crew. It comes in, clears out all the metabolic junk that's built up, consolidates your memories, and restores your mental energy for the next day. You neglect either one of these, and even the most brilliant mind will just grind to a halt.
Okay, so how do we put all of this together into a daily practice? Well, the good news is it's not about adding a bunch of stressful new tasks to your to-do list. Not at all. It's really about a shift in perspective, about starting to see your entire day as one big opportunity for mental training.
This is what we call the active mind principle in action. You see how each of these habits we've talked about supports the others? Curiosity fuels your learning. Deep thinking gets way easier when you write things down. And all of it is powered by a well-maintained brain that gets enough movement and rest. So the crucial takeaway here is that these aren't just separate activities, they're an interconnected system for growth.
So I'm going to leave you with this one thought. Your daily life, it's already a mental gym. It's full of equipment just waiting for you to use it. The problems you face, that's your resistance training. The new information you come across, that's your fuel. So the only real question left is, what will you choose to train today?